Couldn't figure out doctors. They just wanted to give me pills. Couldn't figure out, the doctors never did tell me what was wrong, why my body was so acidic.
I'm Sam Aiko, and you're experiencing The Organic Matrix, the show that captures eternal wisdom of real human experiences to benefit the generations to come. Disclaimer. The Organic Matrix is a platform intended to give a voice to people of all walks of life. This podcast is not intended to be used for influence or to be used as medical advice. Today's episode is about how Romain Hicks beat death twice. Today we'll be having Romain Hicks and Randy Young. Randy Young was a guest on our show for our second episode. He invited his friend Romain Hicks to share a breathtaking story about how he survived death twice.
Introduce, he's been an excellent friend. We've been friends for, my goodness, for 40 plus years. And he's the one that got me involved a little bit about my background. He got me involved in nutrition, how to live a positive and fabulous life. I mean, just taking care of myself. He taught me some tricks and what I need to do, and he just got me to where I'm at today. And I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Romain Hicks.
So Romain, where are you from?
I am from Sioux City, Iowa.
Did you grow up there too?
Yes, I did. I was a transplant from Kingsley, Iowa, a farm boy to a city boy.
Wow, how was that transition?
Well, the city don't handle me well.
Why is that?
Because I'm a country boy, totally. I don't like sidewalks. I run through the woods and play on the river. That's what I do. I hunt and I fish. So I don't have much time for the city.
I'm right there with you. Like I moved to Georgia during my college years, and that's all I did, like hang out in the river, like in the Chattahoochee. And
Nice.
it was like living a vacation every day compared to the city, because in the city it's like there you have to spend money to have fun. There's like only squares of grass where your dogs can like go to the bathroom and like feel like a dog. And there's just like, I feel like the sidewalk, all the concrete's like a grill in the summer. It just cooks you. Like,
yep. Too many rules in the city for me. So I'm a country. I'll stay a country boy forever.
Randy and Romain are definitely friendship goals. They practically knew each other their whole lives. So where did you meet Randy?
Randy and I met back in junior high school, which was only 5 or 6 years ago.
Just a few.
So yeah, it was probably 40 plus years ago that we met. We met in high school, and we went down several roads together, and this by far the healthiest.
Definitely.
Were you always into holistic healing?
No. As a matter of fact, I grew up, my family always ran to the doctor just like everybody else does. However, I was never satisfied with just a Band-Aid, and I am a sponge for knowledge. So I wasn't willing to just accept what they told me. And like on all their drugs and stuff, really took hold of me when I was 18 years old, and I took a bunch of Valium and drank some alcohol, and I OD'd and my heart stopped 3 times. And I had an outer body experience, and got to see the doctors working on my body while my family was freaking out, hugging each other, praying for me. And I apparently got to make some decisions at that point, and decided that pharmaceutical drugs was not in my realm. So when it was quite a few years later when I really started researching it, because First of all, I know water is the nucleus to your health. And I found out that the water I was drinking was causing a lot of my health problems, along with lack of nutrition. So I started doing a lot of research. I talked to a lot of doctors, Western medicine and holistic, and I found out there was a lot of stuff that that people weren't finding out. So I'm a guy that likes telling the truth. So I went ahead and started doing a lot of research, invested a lot of money going to Dallas, Texas, to a lot of big meetings and rubbing elbows with the right people to get the knowledge that I needed for my own health, because I wasn't going to put my health into somebody else's hands. Well, back in I used to paint water towers. So I drank water in different towns all the time. And one time I was climbing a water tower and my entire body started cramping up. And I realized that it was the water that was causing it. So I went to the best source that I knew, which was bottled water. I drank that for approximately 10 years until hindsight being 2020. I found out after being admitted to the hospital for 5 days, and they did test on me 24/7 because my body was so acidic that I kept having gout flare-ups, couldn't work, couldn't walk. All I did was sat on a dock and fished in constant pain. Was taking 3,000 milligrams of ibuprofen just so that I could function in the morning. And my body was so acidic, like I say, my body wouldn't get rid of the acid. Couldn't figure out, doctors, they just wanted to give me pills. Couldn't figure out, the doctors never did tell me what was wrong, why my body was so acidic. And then God sent a nurse into my life, and he was very persistent on having me drink this water. And my knee was probably the size of a basketball. I was using a cane at that time. And after he bugged me for like 3 weeks to try this water. This is after I'd already been to the hospital for 5 days. I already knew, matter of fact, I'll have to, sometime when it's live, I'll show you some pictures of what my insides look like when they told me I was healthy. But I took my health into my own hands and said, I requested a certain doctor, told him I needed to put a camera down my throat so I could see what I was fighting, because I knew I was fighting something, and they couldn't figure it out. Well, then they took some pretty graphic pictures of my insides, which Randy's got to see, and it wasn't pretty. So, and I knew it was the acid was eating everything up. All they had was a pill for and to cover it up, and no answers. But they had a pill. So I went home to die, basically. I went back to my apartment. Pretty much was secluded for a while, and like I say, God sent this nurse to me. His name was Doug, and he bugged me for probably 3 weeks to try this water, this alkalized water, to try to alkalize my body. And I wouldn't listen to him because I was done. You know, I thought I had all the answers, and I thought I was already drinking the best water. I had no idea about alkalized water. Well, then after he sent me this video, and I seen the exact water that I was drinking, 10 to 14 of them a day, because my nutrition knowledge told me to put water in my body to flush all the bad stuff out. Well, after I seen my water on that video, and it was pure acid, and I was putting 10 to 14 bottles of acid in my body every day, trying to get acid out of my body. Oxymoron. So Doug told me he had one of those machines. I told him, I asked him if he had an extra room. He said he did. I headed to Des Moines, Iowa on a Thursday evening. By Sunday afternoon, the swelling was completely out of my leg. I was able to walk back out without a cane, and I've never looked back. I ended up buying 2 of the machines the next day. So the water was the nucleus to my health. However, I still couldn't find good nutrition because it's just not in our food any longer. And if people educate themselves, they'll find out that if you eat a banana today, you're not eating a banana of 40 years ago. Same with apples, same with oranges. Nothing has a nutritional value. I see people eating corn all the time, and I watched America blow up. See, I'm a farm boy. We use corn to feed our chickens to get them fat. We use it on our hogs, and we use it on our cattle. And we use corn to get them fat. We don't use it to give them nutrition. Well, people here in the United States think that corn is actually nutritious. It's not. So if you got a weight problem and you eat a lot of corn, you may want to look at your corn. Go ahead.
Wow, like people like in America sell corn as to be like a healthy snack.
Absolutely. Right? And people believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then I ended up, once you see the pictures, you'll see I work on the road. So, and it wasn't that I didn't have an extra water machine with me. I could find nowhere to hook it up because the motels nowadays have funky faucets, and like you can't hook it up to a trough. You know, I mean, you actually need to hook it up to it so that it can process the water. And bottom line is I just got away from not necessarily nutrition, but I got away from the water, and got sick back in October to where I collapsed at work. couldn't perform my job any longer, and I was just bouncing back from that in December, and all of a sudden I got COVID.
And now Romain shares with us how he also survived COVID. Romain believes hospitals kill, and he put his good faith in good water and good nutrition.
I think I got COVID end of December, 1st of January, and laid there for 3 weeks, wouldn't go to the hospital, and I with a lot of people trying to get me to go to the hospital, and I won't go there. Hospitals kill, and I'm a firm believer in that. So I decided that I believe in God, I believe in nutrition, and I believe in how our cells work. So I kept putting nutrition in my body, and I kept drinking water, and slowly but surely I was getting better. Well, I got this friend Randy that kept bugging me about this Live Ultimate. I was watching his videos. I watched, or he asked me to try it a couple different times. I wasn't even open to it because I take good nutrition. So I wasn't even open to it because I didn't need the extra cost for more nutrition. I was already taking good nutrition. So I'm bouncing back. It's, I know it was I was literally bedridden 2 weeks before anyone that knows football, there was 4 playoff games. I don't know what weekend it was, but there was 4 playoff games. 3 weeks before that is when I literally went down and was bedridden. My daughter come out to see me, and she'd never seen, I went from over 200 pounds to down to 160 some pounds. And I lost all, I used to have some buff to me, and lost all that. I was just a skinny old man at that time. And my little brother came out and seen me, and he called up the family and said, I don't think he's going to make it through the night.
What Romain said really stood out to me. He said the doctors didn't have any answers, but they always had a pill. And to think that the core of Romain's health issues came from the level of acidity inside of his water. Imagine going to a doctor and instead of giving you a prescription for medication, they handed you a test strip to see what pH balance your water was. I mean, it would sound like a joke, but this is what we need to start considering when we're trying to recover from illness. Is it our environmental surroundings causing the illness, or is it our time to be sick? Romain Hicks beat death more than once in his lifetime. Romain's near-death experience changed his outlook on medicine. He was also inspired to investigate the truth about what we're really surrounded by. Romain's family came to say goodbye. Romain was so ill that he believed that he wouldn't make it, so his family came over to say farewell.
So then my grandkids came out, they said goodbye. I said, I don't remember hardly any of this because, I was deathly sick. Couldn't even I was getting reprimanded, I remember, because I wouldn't call anyone. But when you're sick, I'm not a real I'm not a real good patient, first of all. And so when I'm sick, I'm not a real good guy to be around, I don't think. And I think a lot of people tell you that.
I will definitely let you know he's not.
Yeah. So, and I take life with a smile. I don't do it with a frown. I take everything with a positive attitude, because you can do it either way. So I do it with a positive attitude. Well, so it was there was 4 playoff games that weekend, and I finally got to my feet. And I think after my grandkids said goodbye to me, I just think that something inside of me, kind of like Rocky, I decided I wasn't dying. Wasn't gonna let them get rid of me quite that easy. So started working out, and I had these 2 weights in my house, and I picked one up, and let me back up. First of all, I couldn't lift a gallon of milk with my left arm, which is my strong arm. A gallon of milk weighs 8 pounds, and I had to use 2 hands to lift it. Well, finally got on my feet the weekend of them playoff games, went to my friend's house, spent the weekend there, and come Super Bowl time, Randy was at the same Super Bowl party as I, same house. And he says, I want you to try this Live Ultimate. And at that point, once you're sick, you'll probably try anything, especially once your family said goodbye to you. So he didn't want no money for it. He just handed me a couple boxes. He says, here, I want you to try this. So I said, all right. Well, I was trying it at first, and I was putting a little bit on my peanut butter toast. I was putting a little bit here, I put it in my food as I was cooking it. Couldn't use a whole packet of that, the Elixir, and this little pack right here. When I read on it, and this is what actually got me to try it. It said a synergistic alkalized blend. That got my attention, because I know that everything that I'm putting in my body is acidic. You just can't get away from it. That's the way it is here in the United States. They want to keep you sick. Trust me. They want you sick. That's how they're making all their money. So after Randy handed me those boxes, I started putting them on everything. Mushrooms, now I could eat them pretty good, because I just put them in my cup of coffee and it was good. But that Elixir, that was changing. I tasted my stuff, and I tried it for like a week. And then we're over at his house one day, and this girl was with me, and Randy says, well, I just put it in a glass of water and I drink it, and the whole thing at one. I said, the whole thing at one time? He said, yeah, the whole thing at one time. So we left there, and I told Elixir, I said, if he can do it, I'm tough enough to do it. So I went ahead and put it in a glass of water, and yep, I drank it. I think people that raise horses will like it the best, because it tastes like alfalfa to me. However, being a farm boy, I'm okay with it. I know it's doing my body good. Well, at that time, this was only, like I say, I don't know what, this is March 7th, I think.
Yeah.
Super recent.
This was, just back in February. So it was that I started taking it, and then
Romaine's condition dramatically turns around when he starts taking the Ultimate Elixir by Live Ultimate. He started off once a day, and he jumped it to 2 times a day. And coming up, he explains how it impacts his health, almost dramatically. If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's the easiest way to make a podcast, with everything you need all in one place. Let me explain. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. So download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
once I started putting it in a glass of water, and then I did it morning and night for about a week. And every day I started getting stronger. I started getting where I could do push-ups again. I'm back up to 100 push-ups in a day. The first weights I picked up, I told my mother, I said, I'm going to have to start off with less than 50 pounds. And I put them down. I found out I was only lifting 25. And I said, that's pretty embarrassing for a guy my size. And I told my boss the same thing. And today, 3-4 weeks later, after drinking that stuff regularly, I am ready to go back to work. And nobody thought they'd see me back at work since October. I had a lot of people calling me up and say goodbye. A lot of people telling me it was great working with me. Nobody was expecting me back, including myself. And now I feel I'm just as strong as I was before October. And I know it's because I'm feeding my cells what my cells need. First of all, the nucleus is the water, and then you've got to have good nutrition. You cannot put diesel gasoline or diesel fuel in a gasoline vehicle and expect it to run good. And that's what we're doing to the human body. We're putting diesel fuel in something that needs premium unleaded, you know? So I added the Live Ultimate to the product I was already taking, and I still do. And between the two of them, I want to give Live Ultimate, the Elixir, the credit, because I tell you what, I never, everyone that's seen me improving, I went from, again, 160 pounds in less than 3 weeks. I'm back up to over 200 pounds. You know, I think I weighed in at 207 one day and 204 the next. So I was happy. I'll fluctuate 3 pounds. I don't care. And if I get back up to 210, 215, I'll be super happy. But like I said, I was able to start doing exercise again, started building my upper body again. My daughter, like I say, when she came out, she says, Dad, I've never, ever seen, sorry. said, that's tough. She said, you never seen me look like that. So that just kind of gives you the drive. You know, again, I was a tough cowboy my whole life. To break down even thinking about what could have happened, you know, because one thing I've told everybody, and everybody knows this about me, I'm not scared to die whatsoever. I'm scared to live, but I'm not scared to die. Because I know there's a good Lord up there, and I know if you put the right stuff in your body, you can live healthy. And I know I just beat death for the second time in the last 10 years. Both of them were nutrition based, and like I say, so this is the second time. I want to give Live Ultimate. I went to Randy's house one day after I started driving around again, and he asked me if I would be willing to tell people, and he knows I'll tell people the truth. I won't endorse anything that don't work. I don't do the placebo thing. My body tells me, you know, I don't do the placebo thing. So if my body is feeling better, it's feeling better. So there you have it. There's my story in a nutshell. And if anybody ever wants to see what the insides of my guts looked like before I started this journey, I'm happy to show them, because I mean, you can't fake it. I mean, the pictures were very vivid. You know, they didn't have a good answer for me in the Western medicine world. I didn't like their answers, and I won't take the drugs. So I trust God. God's the man.
Amen. I'm right there with you with that. And I had like experiences with the hospital too. And I really appreciate your story, because I feel like there's so many people that are going through the things you went through and have no clue why.
Amen.
And they don't know how to ask why. Like that's one thing I try to tell people now, like with our curriculum, with how we're taught growing up in school, it's like we're not taught to ask how. And I think we're taught to ask why a lot, in a way of like trying to avoid responsibility or avoid confronting something. But why isn't the question? It's like how can you get this done, or how does it help? And I'm really glad that we can put your story on live and have like people listen to it and start asking their doctors for more answers instead of just accepting a diagnosis.
Unfortunately, we differ there in a little ways, because I don't believe the doctors know the answers. Mm-hmm. The doctors are trained in Western medicine. They're trained in drugs. They're trained in a lot of stuff. But if you look at a doctor's education, a doctor, number one, only has to be a C student. I don't want to see a student working on me, first of all. Second of all, they get 2 hours of nutrition in 8 years of schooling. They know 2 hours of nutrition. Well, if you show me where a doctor has to give you a pill in order for birth to happen, because I happen to know when sperm and an egg meet, the cells start doing amazing things. And if you sit there and think about all the amazing things that these cells do, at no time did my ex-wife ever have to call the doctor and say, I need a little liver made tonight. I need a little heart made tonight. Tonight we need some legs. That never happened. They never ran up to the hospital to find out when the little toes were coming. So I know that them cells do some amazing things, and I've seen it in animals, I've seen it in birds, I've seen it in humans, so who's right? A doctor who's trying to tell you what's wrong with your body and give you a pill that has so many side effects that people don't even realize that every single pill you take goes through your liver. I wonder why liver cancer is so high right now, because everything is filtered through your liver. No doctor, there's many people, and I see people taking 10, 15 pills a day. There is not one double-blind placebo study on any 2 pills that a doctor gives you. What they do is they tell you, call me back in a week or 2, tell me how it's going, and we'll adjust if we need to. They have no clue what it's going to do. Well, if it stops your heart, guess what? You don't get to adjust. So I put water, nutrition, and roll the dice with the man upstairs. That's what I do. So.
Romaine's story is jaw-dropping to me. It really had me thinking about our environments and how we don't consider them enough when it comes to battling illness. If you know someone that can be inspired by Romaine's survival story, please share this podcast with them. A story like this can save a life and inspire the right person to start finding their answers. Coming up, part 2 of Ron and Romaine's Matrix. Randy shares how Romaine drove hundreds of miles to save his dog Diva, and how it inspired him to change his ways. If you're enjoying the Organic Matrix and you want to see more of our content, check out the link in the description below. On this link, you will see our nutrition recommendations, our blog, and our social media. Looking forward to see you on the next episode.